Hey everyone, I'm really excited to share a big update with you today. We applied to get into a farm incubator program, get all the mentorship we can and all that. Young farmers, folks who are trying to really learn, but in a more social environment. We actually did get accepted into the Hilltop Urban Farm, and I am really excited to show you around today. It's one of the places we are going to be farming, and it's closer to the city and more accessible to folks to actually come and see where their food is grown. Come on, I want to show you around. So the Hilltop Urban Farm has actually several really cool projects, and one of them they're practicing is agroforestry through planting a community orchard. A lot of farmers are becoming more conscious of the entire ecology, the entire ecosystem, and planting things such as fruit trees or pollinator gardens helps to build that ecosystem. Another one of the projects they have here at Hilltop Urban Farm is the Youth Farm and Orchard. There's a school actually right across the street, and making food, good food, accessible to school-age kids is something important, and allowing them to even come over and get connected to their food, that's extremely cool. The Osage Nation, was the original people here, but after they were kicked out of their land, people continued to build up Pittsburgh. And this land was initially 13 farms, I think they said, and then they tore down all the farms to build a public housing in the 50s, commonly known as St. Clair Village. And from the 70s, through 2008, they started to demolish the buildings, take them down, and there was a lot of question about what was going to happen to this land. The Hilltop Alliance, Grow Pittsburgh, a number of organizations got together, surveyed people in the community. Really, the community had really been cut down after the collapse of the steel industry. Not as many people lived here, but they wanted to see, in an area such as this, that is also a food desert, how they could serve the community. One of the things that the folks in the community said they were interested in is urban agriculture, because these were farms before it was ever a public housing complex, and food access is something that is always an important issue. So over the next few years, they started to implement the incubator program, build this up, and it's still a work in progress, but this is the part of Hilltop Urban Farm where we come in, the community farm and incubator. There's a bunch of different farmers. We each get a quarter acre to grow on and experiment with and build from, and a lot of the tools are shared, such as tractors, implements, and it's pretty cool being able to also see other folks farming as well, ask about any advice, tips, things like that, and I'm excited for the rest of the season. But I want to show you the field we're in. I'm excited to be a part of it because there's a lot of really cool potential for learning how to restore the soils. You might be thinking, why are you farming both at Don Kretschmann's old organic farm and this place? Doesn't that seem like a lot of extra work? But the thing that's really valuable to us in regards to that is mentorship, and mentorship in two very different spaces, and getting to practice with different types of soils. So, Don Kretschmann has been farming that land for decades and creating a lot of organic matter, really being intentional with soil health. This soil is not quite as healthy, and one of our goals is to actually rebuild soil health in our fields. And so let me show you our field. This section in front of our field is a pollinator garden. So, you want to have the bees around. And then in here, we have 1/4 of an acre that runs all the way back to the tree line. And in the previous years, they had put cover crops down. And cover crops, for those of you who don't know, are a type of plant that will restore nutrients in the soil. You see a lot of this with legumes. Actually, let me show you some legumes. Okay, so you can see right here that there's a lot of clover. That's in the legume family. It's something people often plant to cover crop and add that nitrogen back into the soil. Another heavy nitrogen fixer that I am delighted to see was planted here is hairy vetch. It's this flower right here. It has these really pretty purple flowers, yeah, it's kind of one of the superstars of returning that nitrogen back into the soil. Something you'll notice that is really good about this space is it was cover cropped and it's really biodiverse. You want a more biodiverse space if you're not necessarily farming that particular area at that particular time. We've already mowed some of the grass down and tilled up some of the bed, and you can really see the difference between a farm that has been farming organically for decades at this point versus one that needs some work. And I'm really excited to actually be able to work on kind of helping to heal the land. You can see that this dirt, it's much more clayey. There's not a ton of organic matter. Earthworm, that's a good sign. Earthworms, peely bugs, but yeah, compared to a farm that's been farmed organically for a while, it's got a long way to go. And it's really exciting to be able to see both types of soils, get experience with both types of soils, because it would suck if we started out only with the really good organic soil, and then we eventually bought our own farm and the soil wasn't as good, and we had to figure out some of the trials on the fly. Whereas with this, we kind of get some experience not only with rejuvenating the soil, but also in an urban environment. It's an urban farm, and Don Kretschmann's farm is more rural, and so we kind of also get to experiment and play around with what that means as well. This is one of our first days here. It's a work in progress, and we have a lot to learn, a lot to do, a lot to grow, but I'm really excited to be learning about regenerative agriculture and actually making a positive impact on the environment, on our community, providing food, and we'll see where it grows, and I'm excited to share that with you. Stay tuned for learning more about regenerative agriculture. There will be cool plants